and welcome to another evening of frank conversation here on Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. I'm Maokpe Ogun Yusuf. The 2023 elections have come and gone, but we all know that a democracy is much more than elections. It should be about freedoms, about the welfare of the people. It's about accountability. And one of the ways governments are held accountable is through the role that opposition parties play in their criticism and the alternatives that they proffer to whatever the government of the day is doing. Since the People's Democratic Party lost power in 2015, it has struggled somewhat to find its footing as an opposition party, many times pulling together just before a major election. But this last election was very different from that of 2019, as the party was deeply fractured when it went to the polls. 5 serving governors, as well as a host of former governors, showed a disaffection with the internal workings of the party. It cost the PDP a great deal, and as it's also struggled to hold on to power at the subnational levels, where some of these leaders held sway. One of the former governors who openly showed his disapproval towards the PDP is Mr. Fayose, a former governor of Ekiti State. Mr. Fayose had won the seat of governor on the platform of the PDP twice, but has not been shy of openly disagreeing with his party. Now, while we wait for the verdict of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, which will determine if the PDP will continue in its role as opposition or not, how does he think opposition parties will fare in the light of their current disunity? Mr. Fayose, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Well, it's good to host you here on this platform. It's been, I think, at least 7 years since we had you last.
Seven years. When I was still a sitting governor.
A sitting governor at the time. I don't know whether you miss being governor. Do you miss being governor?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Interesting.
You know, I've been in and out. I had the first 10 or 8 years after I came back. So I adjusted my life to coming, or the penchant of coming and going.
Oh, I see.
So the life has returned to normal. And I have taken a lot of weights off my head. And sincerely, I am a better person now. No regrets? Not at all.
When you review, you don't think there's anything I could have done differently?
No, you know, you can't do it all. You have your downsides, you've done very well. For me, I've done very well for Ekiti people. Well, I'm not perfect. Whatever is left, the new guys coming up as governors, particularly the gentleman that is there, Uyibanji, is doing very well as well. So let them, what we didn't fix is fixing it. What we ought to have done that we have not done is doing it. So I give it to Uyibanji. Let's let them continue from where we stopped.
Interesting. I mean, coming from, are you still a member of the PDP?
I am a member of the PDP.
Yeah, because some reports had said you resigned your membership of the PDP and you wanted to continue as an elder statesman. Other reports said you say you will die in the PDP. You love the party a great deal, and you know you're not going to leave it for anything. So I wasn't certain where you stood.
You see, Maokwe, one thing I want to say again, I've said this severally. The moment I am not in the PDP, I will never join another political party. And I will never be a member of the APC, not whether they are good or they're bad. At this age, you can't be jumping bed. And equally offers us the opportunity to be able to bear our minds, to say it as it is, because Nigeria is bigger than us. We must not play the politics to the level where somebody is doing a good thing, we must be able to say so. But when they are doing the wrong thing, we must equally be able to say it. If the political party, either the PDP or whatever political party, is not offering that, then it is too sad for democracy.
So you are a member of the PDP?
I'm a member of the PDP.
When did the reports come from that you were resigning from the PDP?
The PDP at some point suspended myself, the former governor of Castina, the former SGF and all that. So the controversies started from there. You understand? At this level, we have given our best to the party. I was the major critic of the APC government under President Buhari. I sustained so many wounds that I cannot enumerate today. But I stand there to say, if in any political party you want to fight me after paying my dues, giving my best to you, then I will have to face you. I have to give it back to you. Majority of the people talking in the party today, where were they when we were standing up? So for me, we leave it as we're in the PDP. But the PDP needs over-oiling. I've criticized them enough. I have bore my mind where necessary. But as of today, I think they are picking the pieces, and they should pick the pieces. Anybody advising them, suspend this, expel that, what is in PDP to expel?
Okay, so you are, I mean, obviously you are definitely concerned about the state of the PDP.
The party, correct.
And I'm sure that you've also heard a few of your, well, I say, co-PDP stalwarts who are also quite concerned about the state of the PDP as well. One of them is former Aviation Minister Osita Chidoka, who has said that the PDP needs to, what's the word he used now, needs to pull together, otherwise it risks going into extinction. Those are the words, I mean, he used extinction.
If you hear that from Osita, Osita is a credible man. Osita is a credible man. That coming from Osita is enough for you to know the state of state in the PDP. And I want to agree with him. That was why I said, some people saying suspend Wike, sack Wike. I think they do that at their own peril. You see, the first thing in your family, even when you have extreme situation in differences, is not to tell, say, drive your wife or drive your husband. Wike is a force in the PDP and beyond the PDP that you can't ignore. So you ignore Wike, you sack Wike, you fight Wike at your own peril. He's a man of capacity. So, but let me leave Wike in the instance. For me, the PDP needs to overhaul itself. And let me commend the acting national chairman. For my findings, all efforts are there to push him to touch people like Wike, to touch people like me. He has exercised restraint. Don't forget the tenure of the current working committee ordinarily is 4 years. They've spent almost 2 years. So what is the driving force? What is left in the PDP? My findings confirm that the party can't pay salaries now, because it is the like of Wike and others that were supporting the party to take up certain responsibilities. So for me, my advice is for the party to call for truth submission, where everybody will come and bear your mind, tell them what went wrong, why did you get angry with the party, how can we move forward? You understand?
We saw an attempt at that. I think it was in Bauchi State, where, you know, there was a gathering of stalwarts and everybody was supposed to be bearing their mind. That didn't end up very well, did it?
I think it's a forum of calling people you want to call. I give it all and due respect to the governor of Bauchi State. But let me say to you, myself and a number of other people in the party who feels aggrieved would be a good thing for the party itself to look out for everybody, not a section. Not people said to be loyal to Atiku. Not people doing a bidding of a group who did not believe in the presidency of a former vice president. The moment you do that, we'll remain in our trenches. We will do like this and be watching you. So we'll allow you to do the first salvo. Then we give it back to you. You won't rubbish me and I'll be looking at you and they'll be laughing. I'll go for you straight away. I am a politician. Over time, I know where the wars are won, where the battles are won, and I know where to fight, when to start. But we're getting older than yesterday, so we'll take it easy.
I think the general concern for a number of people is that if, I mean, there's the courts rule that indeed the APC won the elections fair and square, and that, you know, is the role of the PDP and perhaps a host of other parties to play in the opposition. They wonder if the PDP can actually muster that, you know, feel that capacity given the current state of disunity and the fact that a number of its own people worked to see the emergence of, you know, of the APC candidate. Would there be in any stead to be able to hold the APC accountable?
May I say to you, and be sincere with all PDP members, if you see any string at all still holding that party together, is the hope of a possibility that Atiku may be asked to go for a rerun with Ashwaju, or that he will win the primary, declared as the president. If that fails, that Osita said, may happen to the PDP. That is the only string that is still holding the party at the national level. Every state is unique. Every state is like Nigeria. So the governors of the PDP in the states, they're doing well. But the problem is that beyond the governors of the state, the party in itself, let me say to you again, even if Atiku is declared today, or they said, go and do a rerun, where is the cohesion in the party to do such? The election will be worse than what it was. You understand? Election will be worse than what you imagine it to be even in the last election, because the party in itself is gradually and daily becoming a shadow of itself. So
don't you fear that we could descend into a one-party state?
Let me correct that. You see, it is in Nigeria you think the opposition is the pointer to ills of the party in government. No. Average Nigeria that is hungry in his or her house knows that things are not easy. We only anchor the fact, we say that the opposition is supposed to be. No. It's like today, I'm in the television house. My phone is more of a television house to me now than what Imaupe will come and say to me. Everybody is aware of what's happening in our country, in their countries, in their homes. So they are first victims of any bad leadership. So an opposition party will do well if they are together. And if they are not together, other forces will take over that responsibility. That's the fact.
You are not concerned about that?
I'm concerned, but you see, if you say you want to remain in a marriage and the person says he doesn't want you, you go. There's no law that says you should remain where you do not have peace. But the fact remains that PDP should not wait for the outcome of a tribunal before they put this house in order. Every day, things will begin to go their ways, which is not in the interest of a party. And if the election fails to go the way of PDP, the party may go down permanently. But I pray that will not happen to them. It's good for them to move quickly and save the situation. You see, when you are fighting Wike when he was sitting governor, you are still fighting him now. And those of us who believe that what they did to us during the election wasn't fair enough, we would not equally submit to allow anybody to rubbish us. Over time, if I governor one day, you will leave that seat.
What did they do to you?
Because I came out on my Twitter handle to say to the whole world that it is the turn of the South. And I have no apologies for that. I say it again. Nigeria will be in a deeper problem now if the Northern had won that election. Somebody was talking yesterday, I don't like to mention names, saying that there is no constitution, it's not in Nigerian's constitution, to say it is the turn of the South. Morals and common sense tells you that it's a rotational presidency. You understand? So if a Northerner, Ayus, is the chairman, Atiku is chairman, Atiku is Northerner and is president. So Buhari will finish after 8 years. Atiku will now take another 8 years. So South will begin to look like Mumu or what? It's not about Asiwaju here. It's not about an Obi. And that's why I'm going to appeal to the National Assembly. They must have enough courage to entrench certain things in our constitution. The entrenchment must be very clear that when a Northerner finishes, a Southerner must take to it.
You want rotational presidency in our constitution?
Because of our diversity.
You want it in our constitution?
Yes, because we have extreme minorities, we have majorities. So that every interest... That was what led to where you have zones ab initio. So let me say to you, we're elder statesmen now. I was governor at 42. So I have been part of the system reasonably enough to tell you to the fact that if we don't entrench these things, we'll continue to have this confusion. Some people are not even supposed to participate in that election. The former vice president, sincerely yours, was not supposed to participate in the last election. It was the same issue we had when Jonathan was there. If Jonathan had not participated in that last election, people would have won the election in 2015. The reason is that we must look back, take back, and be careful so that our good intentions does not become our asbestos.
No. You have said that you will not shy away from telling the government of the day the truth.
Yes.
We see today that Labour is unhappy with the state of things, especially since fuel subsidy was taken away. We'll be asking your opinion on what exactly you make of their saying they'll go on strike after we come back from this break. Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. Former Governor Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State is our guest tonight on the program, and we're speaking to the role of opposition in a democracy. Let me quickly take you up again on this issue of democracy. You know, we've been seeing the spate of coups in a number of West African countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and then recently moved to, Central Africa in Gabon. And a number of people have been saying, look, it's because the people in these countries are discontent with the results of the kind of democracies that they have had in those countries. Considering where we currently are, the discontentment that sometimes not just greets our elections, but even the outcome of, democracy every 4 years, people seem rather unhappy about, the state of their lives. What are your thoughts? Have you had any thinking with regards to the coups that we have seen in some of these countries?
Okay, you have put two questions before me, if you want me to relate to them. Number one, don't compare Nigeria, even Ghana, with those countries. And secondly, I am very happy with what happened in Gabon. I don't like military incursion in politics. But I want to say to you, Nigeria is different because Nigeria, we have reasonably stabilized the democracy. You might have our flaws. Remember that now in Nigeria, you can see uninterrupted democratic process. You can see that we know after 4 years there will be an election. Nigeria has gone from one party to another party. One person to another person in space of time. But in a country where one man is spending 30 years, 20 years, 40, they must boot him out of the place. Whichever way, that's different from Nigeria's setting. Nigeria, we have submitted, but we are not there yet in the final order. I'm not saying anything cannot happen. No coup. Nigerians, when you talk here, they will go and report you. They will come and carry you in the house because the moment you hear about a coup and you do not report it, let me say to you, you deserve to be killed. Because democracy is by the people for the people. It's mutiny, nothing more. And we're doing well. We're moving forward. You remember before the swearing of Achiwaju, they were touting a possible military takeover. You understand? That is only if it's backed by government of the day. If not, nobody dares that in Nigeria. It can't work in our country, so nobody should entertain any fear. And you said sometimes after an election, some people are not happy. Well, has anybody been happy before? If you lose in Nigeria, we are bad losers. That's why we have so many cases in court, even in party, even within our parties. You see so many cases. Because Nigerians by ourselves, we're difficult people.
Yeah, but do we really understand what this democracy is about? If this is about the welfare and the security of the people and, on a daily basis, only recently the NLC, is threatening to go on strike. In fact, they've actually declared the 5th of September as the day when they're going to have a strike on that particular day to express their dissolution.
Is Nigeria only about NSC? Excuse me, I'm not saying they're not supposed to rally for their people. Nigeria is not the population of a public servants or civil servants. You have to look at the population. But they are overdoing it. When Buhari was in government, how many times did they go on strike? They daily compromised them. Because maybe this government is not allowing them to be compromised. That is why you're having this issue. I'm saying it.
Is that the case, or is it because they removed fuel subsidy?
Can I ask you one question? Where were they when things were falling apart, when dollar jumped from Buhari's administration to what it is before he left? Where were they when Nigeria's foreign reserve became 4 billion out of 40-something billion? Where were they when a lot unspeakable were happening in Nigeria. Don't they have an NLC president? Ashwaju came. I'm not watching brief for him. He came on his inaugural speech. He has said it before. Obi said it. Atiku said it. I will remove subsidy. Then the outgoing president did not include subsidy, whatever, in the budget. The man said the subsidy regime is gone. What miracle would the man have done? Let us call a spade a spade. I'm not a member of his party and I will never be. Don't let us sit back. Is it government? Let us leave Ashwaju now. Is it Buhari that is making Nigerians misbehave ordinarily? Nigerians, when you see a taxi driver, he will take one way. Okada will do whatever they like. People do whatever they like. Even when the government wants to make a correction, is there a window? A government is a function of a followership. The followership determines what their leaders will be.
In this case, the NLC, you have agreed that they're speaking up for their people. And oftentimes, it's one of the ways that we also feel the temperature of the people.
But can I ask you?
So far, so good. We do not exactly have an opposition that is functional. We do not have, I mean, we all know that it was seen that there were no plans in place to actually cushion the effect of the subsidy.
Can I ask you?
Government had run away from removing the subsidy as a result of of the results of what they're going to expect.
How long can you pretend? This man has taken the courage. It is better to face the realities in our country.
Yes.
Ashwaju saying the subsidy regime is gone. That's the reality. And he has given his words that they will increase salaries.
Yes, but it's taken a while.
Before I became this age, took a while. The problems in Nigeria is beyond an overnight thing. Let us give it. If Atiku had become president or Obi, I will be saying exactly what I'm saying. It takes a country is very damaged. It's a bad economy. This man must have inherited Atiku or Obi. What would the man do? When the foundation is faulty, what would the righteous do? Even Ashwaju is saying that I will do this, I will do that. May God help him. There's no manner. Our economy is supporting nothing. It wasn't Ashwaju that started bunkering. All the wahala in the Niger Delta, but they're now working towards it. If an Atiku is there, he will do exactly the same thing. Let labor go on strike. When you go on strike, you will come back. Because what you don't have to offer, what you don't have as a parent, you can do it.
But there must be a word of comfort, encouragement, because people are actually looking at at this democracy. And they're really asking very
How many months
questions.
has this government spent?
No, not just about this government. I don't think it's about this government.
So about what?
Because if you look at, our trajectory as a country, as a people, we've had highs and lows. We've had times of hope and expectation and times when it feels like all hope is lost. And I think one of the things that people looked forward to when the democracy came in 1999 was that things were going to be far better than the experience under the military. But I'm sure that in recent times, people have been asking themselves whether indeed, the democracy is actually delivering what they thought it was going to deliver in 1999.
I just giving you a lot of realities. When you are talking about government, you must talk about the people. There cannot be a government without the people bringing such government. When Buhari came, he had a tailwind. Everybody was saying Buhari will turn this around, this will happen. Did it happen like that? So Buhari spent 8 years, messed up the country. You're talking about a man who has spent only 2 months or 3 months. So let us be realistic.
Yeah, do they accept that the former president messed up the country when you think of the fact that they were in the same party?
I am saying it, sir. Party, the fact that you are married to me, I'm married to you, does not say that my wife will be good or I will be good. It is in the work through the marriage that we'll know who's doing the right thing. Even if things are to change, my sister, is it the kind of attitude Nigerians too are putting up? Go to capitals of states, you see the way they are behaving. As if there is no government in place. Everybody, even the security men are enforcing nothing. So when you want to blame government, you must blame the people. We need to sit back to a new beginning and a new orientation.
Is there hope for you? Do you think that there is hope for all of us?
As of today, we can only trust God. That's the truth. As of today, we can only wait and be trusting God. Listen, I read a piece sent to me by one of the former governors. The impression they were giving us that Nigerian foreign reserve fell to 37, 36 billion. The World Bank and other financial institutions all over the world now said the former CBN governor borrowed so much and used the foreign reserve as collateral that we have only $4 billion in reserve. How can a country move forward from there? What are you going to borrow against? And majority of the borrowings are through the capital market. They can't reverse it. We can't get debt forgiveness. So it is a bad situation over time, except you are shying away. It's not an Atiku thing. It's not an Obi thing. It's not an Ashwaju thing. We should face reality. You are looking at it from the angle of APC, PDP, politics. No. The country is in trouble. We all need to face reality. That's it.
Well, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, thank you once more for coming on Hard Copy.
My pleasure.
That's the program tonight. We hope you use the handles on your screen to let us know how you feel about the conversation. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Good night.